volume of a cone. This is another volume you do not have to remember the formula for. You are given it in your formula book. So volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. It's actually the third of a cylinder with the same radius. So just substitute the values into my formula. 1/3 times pi, radius is 7, height is 20. Type that into my calculator. 1/3 times pi times 7 squared times 20 is 1026.3 centimetres cubed. Okay, have a go at these 4 questions. For 1 and 2, you're finding the volume. For 3 and 4, you're finding the missing value for x. Put me on pause when you're done. So for 1a, we've got 1/3 times pi times 1.5 squared times 5. 11.7, nope, 11.8 to 1 decimal place, centimetres squared. Part B, 1/3 times pi times, we've got the diameter here, we need the radius, 150.8 centimetres squared. 2a, to find in terms of pi, you work out the rest, ignoring the pi, and then pop the pi at the end. So 1/3 times 9 squared times 20, 540 pi. Radius is 6. (180 pi). So these will be more reversing calculations, which you need to be able to do to access the high level questions they have on the exam for this topic. So we know 1/3 times pi times 7 squared times x is equal to 1000. There are a few ways you can do this, but I'm going to times both sides by 3 first, which is opposite of 1/3, opposite of dividing by 3. And I'm going to work out 7 squared as well. So times the left-hand side by 3. 1/3 disappears. 7 squared is 49. We have 49 pi times x is equal to 3000. And I'm going to divide both sides by 49 pi. So x is equal to 3000 all over 49 pi, which is 19.5 centimetres for the height. So B, we have 1/3 times pi times 2 squared times x is equal to 22, times both sides by 3. Pi, 2 squared is 4, so 4 pi times x is equal to 66. I'm going to move this little formula. I'll pop it over there now. and divide both sides by 4 pi. X is equal to 5.3. So for 4a, we know a third times pi times x squared times 20 is equal to 195. Times both sides by 3 first. Gives us pi times 20 pi, times x squared is equal to 585. I'm going to divide both sides by 20 pi. X squared is equal to 585 over 20 pi. Square root both sides. .1. And then part B, we have a third times pi times x squared times 12 is equal to 300. Times both sides by 3. Pi times 12 is 12 pi. Divide by 12 pi. And then square root both sides. .9. Surface area of a cone. So again, we are given the formula for the surface area of cone. It's pi times radius times L. L being the slant height of the cone. So from the tip to the circumference. So for this one here, sub in the formula, pi times 6 is the radius times L is the slant height, which is 207.3 centimetres squared. Now, we haven't quite finished that. That's just the curved surface area. To find the total surface area of the cone, it's like the curved surface area plus the area of the circle on the bottom. Okay, so we need pi times r squared. We should know the area of the circle, pi times r squared. So pi times 6 squared is 113.09. I'm just going to leave a few decimal places. I should have done that there really. Anyway, add them together to get the total surface area. Get 320.4 centimetres squared to 1 dp. So that's the total surface area. So sometimes you just ask for the curved surface area, or you just need the curved surface area, sometimes total surface area. Okay, so for question 1, find the total surface area to 1dp. Question 2, find the surface area in terms of pi. Put me on pause and pause when you're done. I'm going to get the formula over here. So pi RL I'm going to just do this slightly differently. That's pi RL plus pi times r squared. So that's your curved surface area plus your area of your circle. I'm just going to type it all into my calculator in one go. That's just a more efficient way of doing it. And the answer is 35.6 millimeters squared. Part B, pi times radius times, now where's your slant height? 24 is your actual height, so you need 25 here. Plus pi times r squared. (703.7 centimeters squared). Part C. Oh, got another part A and B. That's going to be C and D. Let me just relabel. So pi RL. L is your 5. We haven't got a radius. Now, hopefully, you will have noticed we actually have a right angle triangle here. So can you see, to find the radius, you actually need Pythagoras. So ABC, 5 is the hypotenuse, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So x squared equals, so we're looking for the hypotenuse, so we need to square, subtract, square root, I should just say x, which gives us 3. So pi times radius times L, add pi times r squared. Type that all into your calculator. (66.0 to 1dp). And then part D. This time we don't have the L, but again it's Pythagoras. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. We are finding the hypotenuse. So we're square rooting, well, we're squaring, adding and square rooting. (29). So we need pi RL, pi times the radius, times the slant height at pi r squared. $3,078.8. So have a go at 2. This time we're given our answer in terms of pi. Pi RL plus pi r squared. Let's just work out the parts not including pi. So 8 times 17, 136. So we've got 136 pi plus 64 pi. So add those together. 136.6 add 64. Sorry, 136 add 64 is 200. So we have 200 pi. B. Pi RL. So the radius is half of 56. 56 is your diameter. Plus pi r squared. So we have 1,484 pi. Add 784 pi. Gives us 2,268 pi. So now we have some problem solving. So for each of these questions, you're given the surface area. We need to work back to find the missing length. So have a go, put me on pause and pause when you're done. Okay, so calculate the slant height for each of these cones. Right, so for 3A, we have pi RL plus pi r squared, gives us the total surface area. Sub in the values, pi times 9 times L, which is our unknown. I'm going to substitute it in for x, plus pi r squared. Okay, I'm just going to write everything in terms of pi here. Oh, sorry, we know that's equal to 216 pi. We've got 9 pi x plus 9 squared is 81, plus 81 pi is 216 pi. Now the easiest thing to do here is to divide through by pi. Every term here has a pi in, so you can divide everything by pi, which then leaves us with 9x plus 81 is equal to 216. Then we can simply take 81 off both sides and divide both sides by 9. Which gives us x is 15. So for B, we have pi times radius times slant height, add pi r squared is equal to 792 pi. Simplify. Divide 3 by pi. Gives us 11x plus 121 is equal to 792. Let's take 121 off both sides. Divide both sides by 11. X is 61. Okay, question 4. So pi RL plus pi r squared is equal to 36 pi for this question. Let's sub in the values. So pi x times 5 plus pi times x squared is equal to 36 pi. We just divide through by pi, and then we've got 5x plus x squared is equal to 36. Oh, now we have a quadratic equation here. Quadratic equations need to be equal to 0. I'm going to take 36 on both sides. How did I know it's quadratic? Because it's got an x squared term in as the highest power. So x squared plus 5x minus 36 is equal to 0. How do I solve a quadratic equation? Let's see if I can factorise. A times b is negative 36. A plus b is 5. 9 and 4. One of them needs to be negative, so positive 9, negative 4. So x add 9, x minus 4. Solve. So x is either equal to minus 9 or x is equal to 4. The dimension, it can't be equal to minus 9, so that's my answer. Okay, part B. Pi, oh, let's just see here. You notice this is in centimetres squared for the surface area, but L is in metres squared. Let's change them both into metres, I think. Well, no, you've got to be careful because that's an area. I'm going to change them both to centimetres. Okay, so pi times radius times slant height, add pi times r squared is equal to 9,600 pi. Divide through by pi. So we have 100x plus x squared. I'm going to just write it in this order. 9,600. That's minus 9,600 off both sides. I'm going to use the formula here just because I don't want to find all the factors of 9,600. So A is 1, B is 100, C is minus 9,600. So minus B plus minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. So 100 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 9,600 is 48,400 over 2. If you square root 48,400, you get 220. So one of my answers is minus 100 plus 220 over 2. And the other answer is minus, but that's going to give me a negative answer. I know I'm not going to need that one. So minus 100 plus 220 over 2 is 60. So that's my final answer. X is 60. Okay, here, last two questions. So pi RL. Right, we don't actually know L, so that's unknown. But we also don't know X, which I need to find out in the end. But I need to get L first. Plus pi R squared, 800 pi. I'm going to divide through by pi and work some of it out. So 16L plus 16 squared equals 800. Right, I'm going to subtract 256 from both sides. divide both sides by 16. Gives us L is 34. And then we've got a right angled triangle, so Pythagoras. We've got the hypotenuse, so x is the square root of 34 squared, subtract 16 squared. Which is 30. Part B. Pi r, well r isn't 12, r is 6. Pi r squared is 750. Not pi this time, just 750. Okay, so 6 times pi, okay, plus 36 pi is equal to 750. I'm going to minus 36 pi off both sides. So 6 pi out is equal to 750 minus 36 pi. Now I'm going to divide through by 6 pi. This is L times 6 pi. I'm going to divide both sides by 6 pi. L is equal to 750 minus 36 pi all over 6 pi. Which gives us an answer of 33.788. So that's my L. So my Pythagoras have my hypotenuse. So x is equal to the square root of 33.788 squared minus 6 squared. Which is 33.3 centimetres to 1 dp.